Good day everyone, I am Alexis Moli of Group 5 and our topic is about the environmental crisis. But first, what is the environment? Environment is everything around us. It is a place where plants, animals, and humans all thrive together. We are lucky to be gifted with a beautiful and rich environment. However, the environmental crisis has become evident as years pass by. It threatens the existence of all life forms, which will greatly affect the ecosystem. Humans and other living organisms are now beginning to face the consequences that comes with the environmental crisis. Environmental crises occur when there are significant changes in the environment which is caused by a number of issues including pollution, overpopulation, global warming, climate change, environmental deterioration, and a lack of natural resources. It is one specific issue which poses a threat to the survival of many species, including our own. There are many possible causes of environmental crisis, which is classified into four types: physical causes, legal causes, socio-economic causes, and attitudinal causes. First is the physical causes. It refers to the causes that in principle can be studied by the sciences. It is classified into two: natural or human-induced. Natural physical causes are caused by natural processes, meaning that they happen naturally and spontaneously without any human intervention. Examples are earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, storms, hurricanes, dry seasons, and pests. On the other hand, human-induced physical causes are the opposite. It is brought by human actions which causes severe damage to the environment. The examples are pollution, global warming, climate change, depletion of natural resources, emission of toxic substances, oil spills, and dumping of non-biodegradable waste materials to the oceans and rivers.
And here are the world's major environmental disasters whose causes are human-induced. Number 1. Chernobyl Power Plant Explosion. The Chernobyl disaster was a nuclear accident that occurred on April 26, 1986, at the number 4 reactor in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, near the city of Pripyat in the north of the Ukrainian. The Chernobyl accident was the result of a flawed reactor design that was operated with inadequately trained personnel. Number 2. Union Carbide Pesticide Plant Accident. The Bhopal disaster, also referred to as the Bhopal gas tragedy, was a chemical accident on the night of December 2 to 3, 1984, at the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant in Bhopal, in Madhya Pradesh, India. 3. Kuwaiti oil fires. The Kuwaiti oil fires were caused by the Iraqi military setting fire to a reported 605 to 732 oil wells, along with an unspecified number of oil field low-lying areas such as oil lakes and fire trench. As part of a scorched earth policy while retreating from Kuwait in 1991, due to the advantage of US-led coalition forces in the Gulf War, the fires were started in January and February 1991, and the first oil well fires was extinguished in early April 1991, with the last well cape on November 16, 1991. Number 4. The Lab Canal Tragedy. The contamination of Lab Canal, a village with hundreds of houses and schools, located near Niagara Falls in upstate New York in 1978. Love Canal happened to sit atop 21,000 tons of toxic industrial waste that have been buried underground in the 1940s and 1950s by a local company. And lastly, Exxon Valdez oil spill. The Exxon Valdez oil spill was a man-made disaster That occurred when Exxon Valdez, an oil tanker owned by the Exxon Shipping Company, spilled 11 million gallons of crude oil into Alaska Springs, William Sound on March 24, 1989. It was the worst oil spill in U.S. history until the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010. The Exxon Valdez oil slick covered 1,300 miles of coastline and killed hundreds of thousands of seabirds, otters, seals, and whales.
Legal causes can properly addressed by the government include existing laws of the land that have something to do with the environment. They also include the absence of laws that would effectively prohibited practices damaging to the environment and of legal mechanism that would effectively punish those violating existing environmental laws, especially those occupying position of power such as public official and private corporations. The legal causes of the environmental crisis generally refer to those causes of the crisis that are within the control of the government. The socioeconomic causes are factors that are brought about social arrangement and the economic status of human person. Such causes include overpopulation, which naturally result in the competition over limited resources, which in turn contributes to the depletion of these resources. They also include poverty. Because of poverty, people most often prepare cheap but non-environment friendly products and practices over expensive but environment friendly products and practices. In what follows, Jack Hollander, in his book The Real Environmental Crisis, Why Poverty? Not affluence in the environment's number one enemy, further explained by why poverty is a serious cause of the environmental crisis. As people become more affluent, most become increasingly sensitive to the health and beauty of their environment, and gaining influence help provide the economic means to protect and enhance the environment. Poverty is the environmental villain. Poor people are its victims. Impoverished people often do plunder their resources, pollute their environment, and overcrowd their habitats. They do these things not out of willful neglect but only out of the need to survive. They are well aware of the environment amenities that affluent people enjoy, but they also know that for them the journey to a better environment will be long, and that their immediate goal must be to escape from the clothes of poverty. They cannot navigate this long journey assistance from generous institution, nation, and individuals, and from sincere and effective policies of their own. Attitudinal causes refer to the beliefs and values held by humans about nature that allow them or make it permissible for them to cause damages to the natural environment. Examples of this belief are the following: that natural resources are the simply for human consumption or to satisfy human interests, that only human can be recipients of moral duties, that natural resources are inexhaustible or are unlimited, and that we are only responsible for those parts of nature that are owned by humans or are governed by property rights of humans. In her book, The Surgeons of the Real, Charlene Spretnak identifies the following values and beliefs that support the industrial and agricultural practice that exploit people and the environment. Resurgence of the Real, Charlene Spretnak identifies the following beliefs that support the industrial and agricultural practices that exploit people and the environment. Homo economicus, the belief that economic well-being in all other areas. Progressivism, the belief that the human condition will gradually improve through the abundance. Included with this belief is an unquestioned trust that technology will solve all human problems. Industrialism, the belief that mass production and rationally designed institutions and programs are the best way to perfect human society and achieve the abundance needed to sustain human consumption. Consumerism, the belief that well-being is achieved through abundance and consumption.
Now, let's take a read. What is the role of humanities? The role of humanities can use various creative means such as painting, films, and novels to correct wrong beliefs and attitudes about environment. Mga humanista daw ay maaari silang gumamit o gumawa ng iba't ibang paraan upang maitama ang mga maling saloobin ng mga tao tungkol sa kapaligiran. Let's move on the slides, philosophy. The philosophy can determine the truth of our beliefs and examine whether they can justify it. It critically examines the basis of beliefs about the natural environment. The role of this is to determine whether these beliefs are correct and then to distinguish which belief about the environment would lead human to do damage to the environment and which is not. Madaling salita, ang mga filosofiya ay ang maaaring makatungkoy ng ating paniniwala kung ito ba ay tama o mali sa mga taong mapipinsala o sa mga kapaligiran natin.
The roles of philosophy in solving environmental crisis. How significant is this role of philosophy? To answer this question, first, let us examine how the types of causes are related and the importance of the attitudinal causes in comparison to the other types of causes. Physical causes are the direct causes of environmental crises. This means that physical causes are what creates the ecological issues that we are facing. Examples of this are pollution, the depletion of natural resources, and the dumping of toxic wastes into the ocean. On the other hand, the other types of causes, socioeconomic, legal, and attitudinal causes, are the indirect causes of the environmental crisis in that they bring about the physical causes. Examples of this is that a physical cause like river pollution can be A, due to the lack of an effective law prohibiting waste disposal into the river. B, the result of the people living near the river do not have the financial means to avail mechanics for the proper disposal of their wastes. Or C, the consequences of wrong attitudes like the belief that there is nothing wrong in dumping wastes into the river because nobody really owns the river, and thus no property rights would be violated in the process. So far, these physical causes are human-induced, and their occurrence necessarily has legal, socio-economic, and attitudinal factors. This is because human actions are influenced by these factors. Next, let us examine the relationship among the indirect types of causes. Socio-economic causes are also products of legal causes, as laws in certain countries can control or significantly affect the socio-economic processes in that country. Issues concerning poverty and overpopulation can be resolved by legal interventions. Examples of these are number 1, environment-friendly products are more expensive than non-environment-friendly products. This does not necessarily need to be the case if the government can make the appropriate interventions in the pricing of these products. Number 2, overpopulation. This can be resolved to a significant degree by legal means, as what has been done in some places where certain forms of family planning are legalized and are actively promoted by the government. A country may economically be poor not because it lacks resources, but because its government fails to manage its resources well. Moving on, attitudinal causes can be shown to be influencing the other causes. For example, attitudinal causes can bring about A, physical causes. Pollution can be due to the belief that since we are not violating the property rights of some people when we pollute the air and the ocean, then there is nothing wrong in doing so. B, legal causes. The absence of law prohibiting the pollution of oceans and rivers may be the belief that since property rights are being violated, then there is no need to create laws that will prohibit the people from polluting the oceans and rivers. And lastly, it can also bring about socio-economic causes. Overpopulation may be the result of the beliefs that natural resources are unlimited such that there will always be enough resources for humans. In summary, we have shown that the role of philosophy is to address the attitudinal causes of the environmental crisis, primarily to determine whether the beliefs that leads to practices that damage the environment are true and justified. Furthermore, we have shown that this role of philosophy is a crucial one, for the attitudinal causes can influence the other types of causes.
I was kissing you with my eyes open.